Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be taking 4 Christmas tree wood DIY cutouts that I found at the thrift store and giving them all a different makeover. Also, there is a giveaway in this video, so you want to stay tuned till the end. I think y'all going to enjoy today's project, so let's go ahead and get started. And I want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. I thrifted all of these wooden trees several months ago and I actually forgot about them, but I just found them in my thrifted stash. So I figured in today's video, we'd have some fun and do something different on every single tree. I have some of these self-adhesive wall tiles from the Dollar Tree. They are very thin and flimsy. I don't know if they'd be great for home decor, but I think they're going to be perfect for DIYs and this project. Now, I don't want anything down the center right here because I have to slide the tree over. So what I'm going to do is I'm only going to put the adhesive on one half of the tree. So I'm going to do one on this side, and then I'm also going to do a tree on this side. I'm going to have to do 4 sides so you can see it all the way around. I have the 2 sides on. Now I'm going to cut it. That way I can also use the piece in the middle and try to use as much of this tile as possible because I only have 3 tiles in my stash. Since this is so thin, it's really easy to come in with an X-Acto knife and just cut the excess off. So it looks like the adhesive wasn't on the towel part. It's this white part right here. So once you cut it, the towel is no longer attached. So I guess from the beginning, you could kind of take that white part off. I didn't realize it till I started cutting it. So I'm just going to go in with my hot glue and I'm going to hot glue along all of the edges. All right, let me show you exactly what I'm talking about on this last piece because now that I've done the whole tree, it's a lot easier to do this. So just remove these pieces where you just have the tile and then take that and hot glue it to your piece because once you start cutting it up, this kind of falls apart and gets in the way. So just use your tile. It's going to make your life a lot easier. Finally done. This project would have been a lot easier if I would have just been able to do a solid piece on each side, but I did have to leave this space so that way I could put the trees together in the end. Also, I was thinking I could have made 2 trees by just doing a solid piece, then it would have covered up these slits. But anyway, here we are. This is what we're doing. Next step is I'm going to take it outside and give it a coat of this sunlit brass color. All right, these pieces are all dry and they are looking so good. If you're into a bright, shiny gold, you can put them together and stop here, but I am not. So we're gonna be using Fusion's Antiquing Glaze, and I wanna give this more of an antique gold look. So I'm gonna apply the Antiquing Glaze to my entire piece. And then I'm gonna take a paper towel and just kind of lightly wipe it back, and the antiquing glaze will stay in all the details, and it'll also give it a much richer, more antiqued look. So you can kind of see the difference already here in this piece and then in this piece. So this is also a great idea if you find gold pieces or you have gold pieces in your stash and they're just a little bit too bright for your taste now, you can add the Fusion antiquing gel to them and give them more of an antique look. So you can take something like this and turn it into something beautiful and antique looking like this. Look at all this stuff that I found at the Goodwill bins the other day. I don't know about this particular tissue paper, but it was with the rest of it, so I grabbed it. If you have an idea for this one, please leave a comment. I love the gold and white one here, and it pairs perfectly with this solid gold one. And then this is actually a cover to a gift box, but I love the picture on here. So I think this is going to be in next week's YouTube video. I'm going to do something with this. So y'all stay tuned for that. I think for this project today, I'm going to be using this paper. I want to decoupage this on the wooden tree. However, I really want the background to be white, not wood, because whenever you decoupage something thin like this tissue paper, whatever is in the background will show through. So I'm just going to do a quick paint, quick coat of Fusion's Victorian lace paint. It's just, you know, a beautiful white color. I'm not looking for full coverage, although one coat is covering pretty good. So I'm just going to slap a coat of white paint on each side of this Christmas tree. All right, my pieces are painted with one coat of white paint. Now I'm going to take my Fusion decoupage and transfer gel, and I'm going to cover the wooden Christmas tree. Then I'm going to take my thrifted tissue paper and I'm going to place it on top. And you do have time to work with it so you can kind of smooth it out. If you have a brayer, that is helpful. You can just do like that. Oh yeah, that's much better. This is the IOD brayer, and a lot of the products that I'm using today you can find on my website, juliesdesignsandsigns.com. So I'm just going to keep using the brayer because it's taking all of these little wrinkles out. Now, when you are decoupaging, there's going to be some wrinkles, but I feel like the more we can get out, the better. You could trim all the excess off, but I think the easiest thing to do is to let your decoupage gel dry and then take a little sander and just sand all the edges, and then your paper will tear right off and give you a nice clean edge. This is looking so good. I am glad I took the extra step and painted the background white because I don't think the gold would pop nearly as much, or it wouldn't be nearly as beautiful hadn't I done that. Okay, next I want to take my decoupage gel and I want to go over the top of it. This will just seal everything in and make sure my tissue paper stays in place. All right, now I want to do something to these edges. They just look unfinished. So I'm going to take Dixie Belle's gilding wax in a gold color and my Stallmaster paintbrush. Luckily, this paintbrush is the perfect size for these edges. So I'm just going to go along and add some gold to this. If it gets a little bit on the tree, that's really no big deal. It's just going to kind of go with the look. It's almost the exact same color as the tissue paper. So I'm just going to finish up all of the edges with this gold gilding wax, and then this piece will be done. All right, guys, 2 projects down. We got 2 to go, and spoiler alert, the last 2 are my favorite. But before we get to those, I want to tell y'all a little bit about today's sponsor, Squarespace. If you do not know what Squarespace is, it is an online hosting platform, and that is who actually hosts my e-commerce store, juliesdesignsandsigns.com. And whether you have an online store, a local business, if you just want to create a portfolio or blog or offer a service, Squarespace has so many different options to host your website. So Squarespace has everything that you need to grow your business online. You can create a website using their very easy to use templates, designer fonts, color palettes. You can easily create an e-commerce store, and you can also market your business by connecting your social accounts and by using their email campaigns. Squarespace is extremely user-friendly. Even if you have no designer background, they have all these templates for you to pick from. It is really so easy, you guys. So if you're interested in trying out Squarespace, y'all go to squarespace.com/juliesdesignsandsigns, and they are giving my viewers 10% off when you use code juliesdesignsandsigns, and I will have a link to everything in the description below for y'all. All right, now I am ready to move on to these wood trees. You can tell by this tag, this is an older piece, but I love the shape of these. They're going to be really kind of tall and skinny when we put them together. Look how cute. I want to stick with the gold and white theme for these trees as well. So the first step is just to get a coat of white paint on here. I'm using Fusion all-in-one paint in the color Victorian Lace. It's just a very pretty white, and I'm using my Stallmaster pointed sash paintbrush. Y'all know that one is my favorite. Trees are painted white. Now it is time to embellish. I want to start off with IOD Kindest Regard stamp. It's like a letter stamp, or like a, writing a letter stamp. And so it's the perfect thing for a background. And I'm using the gray ink because I want it to be a little bit more subtle than the black. And when my stamp is all inked up with the stone gray IOD ink, I'm going to put it on my piece. It's not big enough to put on the entire thing, but that's okay because we're not going to really read this anyway. It's just decoration. So I'll put some up here and then I'll stamp the bottom of the Christmas tree. Oh my gosh. Look how good that came out. This is just a plastics piece that is on your stamp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it on the part that I already stamped, kind of like a mask. That way I don't get any ink right there. And I'm going to figure out where I want to put the rest of the stamp, and I'm going to put that down. That way this part up here, it doesn't actually transfer onto my Christmas tree. It's just going to go on this clear piece that I put down. And there we go. Now I just have to do this 4 more times. Absolutely in love with how these came out. Y'all, let me know what y'all think. Now we need to add in some gold. So I actually want to use this gold tissue paper, the one that I found at the bins, and I'm going to cut it into some long strips. I'm going to take my Fusion decoupage gel, and we have these nice thick edges on these Christmas trees. So I'm just going to add the Fusion decoupage gel all the way down the edge. And then I'm going to take my gold paper and I'm going to just put it on the edge of the Christmas tree where I just applied that Fusion decoupage gel. Once it's all the way dry, I'm just going to take some sandpaper and just rub it on the edges. And once you do that, it'll kind of just tear off the tissue paper. And I'm also going for a distressed look here. So I think I'm actually going to kind of distress a little bit of the gold tissue paper and maybe even the Christmas tree. So you can see I already did this side and I distressed the gold a little bit, and I love how that looks. And I also want to come in and, like I said, just distress the Christmas tree as well and make the stamp that we did on here even a little bit more subtle. The last step is just going to be to seal this piece up. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and put it over the entire piece as well. I don't know, y'all. I think this might be my favorite tree that we did. I'm just loving this stamp right here with the gold edges and a little bit of distressing. Y'all, let me know what y'all think. When I put the other tree together, I noticed that what really stands out on this tree is the thick edges. So for this one, I really want to embellish that and have that be the standout part of this tree. I'm going to be using IOD Trimmings Mode 2. I'm thinking this particular design right here is going to fit perfectly on the edge. When using clay in your molds, you want to dust it with some cornstarch. I just kind of put some in with a brush and then tap out the excess. And then you're going to take your clay and you are just going to push it into the mold. And then with the IOD micro rim, all you do is you just rub with your thumb and all of the excess just comes right out. Sometimes for bigger, flatter pieces, I find it helpful to use the IOD brayer just to kind of flatten out the back of the piece. And then to get the clay out, I like to kind of wiggle my mold and then it just pops right out. Look at all the detail on here. I'm going to use Gorilla Glue to glue my mold to this piece. I like to glue my molds down when they are wet, and I feel like Gorilla Glue works great. You don't want to use hot glue when your molds are wet because it's not going to dry properly since your clay is wet. All right, I cut the bottom piece so I have a straight edge, but the top piece is like this. So when I add, I'm gonna have to do several pieces to fit this entire tree, and they will come together seamlessly because they all have this edge on here where they go together kind of like a puzzle piece. And IOD actually has 3 different trimmings modes. So if you're not crazy about any of the designs on this one, they have 2 other modes that you can pick from. So I'm just gonna, the clay is movable. So I'm just gonna bend it to the curvature of my piece, and I'm gonna keep making more trimmings mode and adding it till I do all 4 sides of this Christmas tree. This is working great. This mold is the perfect width. And what I'm doing is I'm taking the edges of the clay and kind of pushing it down onto the wood. That way there won't be any gap between the clay and the wood. It'll look like it is permanently attached, and that is what we want. And even these details where it gets, very small right here, I'm not having any issue getting the clay to bend to that. That actually went a lot faster than I thought it would. 2 strips of the trimmings mold fit perfectly on each side. My clay is starting to stiffen up, but it is still wet, and I want to go ahead and get a coat of paint on it. I'm using Victorian lace. It's the Fusion all-in-one paint. I like to paint my clay when it's still wet, and I find it helps with cracking and shrinking. It's not as bad if you go ahead and paint your clay while it's still wet. So I'm going to get 1 quick coat of paint on here, and then I'm going to let my pieces dry. My piece is all dry, and y'all, this is looking so good. Now, I did glue my piece together because I wanted to stay all together, and I went and put like a little bead of hot glue here, kind of used hot glue as caulk, because for the next step, I want my piece to be all together. I have some Victorian lace fusion paint in this cup, and I want to add a little bit of the Dixie Belle Sea Spray. This is a texture additive. And so what it's going to do is it's going to add some texture to my piece, and any of these areas where, there's a little gap here or anything, it's just going to kind of fill that in, and we're not going to see that. So you just add it into your paint and you mix it up. The more texture you want, the more sea spray, the less texture, the less you want. So it's just personal preference, whatever you want. And then I'm just going to put it on my piece. I'm going to try to keep my brush strokes up and down. That way the texture is up and down, and I'm not going to go too thick on this side of my mold because I don't want to fill in the details of the mold. I already put a coat of Victorian lace on it, so it's already the color that I want. So I really don't need to put paint right there. My tree is looking white and beautiful, and we have some texture going on. Now we need to add some gold. I'm going to be using Dixie Belle's Gold Gilding Wax, and I'm going to be using my Stylemaster brush. I'm just going to put a little bit of gold gilding wax on it, and then I'm just going to lightly, luckily this brush is the same size as my molding. I'm just going to go over it like this. I just kind of want to brush it on the details and not, cover the whole piece in gold. That's exactly what I wanted. So I'm just going to dip a little bit and add some more. And this is just going to give it a little bit of gold that will tie into the other trees that I made. And also it'll bring out all of the details of the IOD moldings, trimmings to mold. So once I get my gilding wax on all of the edges of this tree, it will be done. Alright guys, that is the end of today's video. I really hope that y'all enjoyed it. Leave a comment below and let me know what was your favorite project. So in the video, when I created the Christmas tree with the stamp, that was my favorite. But then I did the one with the IOD trimmings mode, and I don't know, I kind of love that one too. So I'm not sure that I could decide. And if you want to make some trees like this, I did find some of these tree cutouts on Amazon, and I will link that in the description. But these thicker ones, I mean, they just don't make wood cutouts this thick anymore. But I do have 4 left over. So I decided to do a giveaway to 4 of my viewers. If you're watching this video, all you need to do is leave a comment and let me know which Christmas tree is your favorite, and I'm going to be picking the winners Thanksgiving Day. I am going to post the winners in the community tab on YouTube on Thanksgiving Day, like I said. And I just want y'all to be aware, sometimes when you do a giveaway, it brings out some scammers. I will not be posting on your comment asking you to text me on an app or anything like that. If you get a message like that, it is a scammer. Like I said, I will be posting the winners in the community tab on Thanksgiving Day. Also, I want to take a moment to remind y'all about my email list, because I've been having lots of sales and lots of new products that you may not know about if you're not on my email list. Actually, right now, today, I am waiting on some new stuff to come in. Unfortunately, it wasn't in on time to put it in this video, and that happens quite often. So you would not know about the new products if you are not on my email list. So I will leave a link to my email list in the description. All you got to do is sign up so you can be the first to be notified when I have a sale, when I have new product, when I have anything going on. You will be the first to know. And if you are interested in starting your own website, y'all go check out squarespace.com/Julie's Designs and Signs. And don't forget, they're giving my viewers 10% off, and I will have all the details linked in the description. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope it inspired y'all, and I will see y'all next week for another DIY.